Hello, I'm Professor Gibson. Welcome to Math 161 at John Tyler for summer 20. All right, so this is a brief overview of the course, how things are going to work, a video sort of thing. All right, so you see I've got the course calendar up. And so I just want to highlight a few items off of here, okay? So you see that each week, like in each section here of the calendar, we've got 3 sections listed most weeks. There's a few sections where there's more. Actually, it's 3 and then 4s, and then there's 1 over. So the number of homeworks actually varies around per week, so you have to kind of pay attention. It's in the calendar. You'll see it in a few minutes. I'll show you it's in Canvas too. The assignments due each week are listed here. Like this first week, it's homework 1.1 through 1.3 and quiz 1. The quizzes are set typically to cover 2 sections of material on each quiz. What that means is some weeks there's 1 quiz and some weeks there's 2. I did this because it lets the quizzes focus into a little bit more detail on without being really long. So you have to pay attention to the calendar, and again, you'll see later they show up in Canvas. Get down here like to the first test. So you can see that the first test is listed actually in week 3 because it's due on the Friday of week 3. It will cover all the material on it will be in weeks 1 and 2. And so our class meets. This is a hybrid class. We're going to meet together 1 day a week on Thursday nights. And then what will happen is on a week where there's a test. So like on week 2, that set Thursday night, we'll finish up through section 2.1. Test 1 goes up through 1.6. All right, so we'll finish that material Thursday night, covering it together. And then the test will be set to open that next morning, test 1, and it'll be open. So it'll open from Friday morning, like it's 8 days. Friday morning, the day after class, through Friday night of the next week. All right, all the tests, there's 3 tests that are all going to be due on Fridays. The final is also due on Friday of week 8, in the case of the final. All right, another thing I would like you to know, you see we've got due dates here. None of the homework assignments show us having due dates. All right, that's not a mistake on my part. There's a little bit of a catch to it. All right, the quizzes are set so that you can't take the quiz unless you've got at least an 80 on the homework, and the quizzes do have due dates, you see, right? So you have to get at least 80% on the homework by the quiz, in time to do the quiz by the due date. But I left the homework open till the end of the course. When you're in the course, you'll see it says July 31st for the homework due dates. Because I sometimes get students who would like to work more questions and go back and remind themselves of things or whatever. And this is the way I've just kind of worked out to do that. I just leave the homework open until the end of the course. You'll always be able to go back in and mess with your homework. If you want to work some more questions to get a few more points or to remind yourself about something or whatever, the homework will be open until the end of the course. All right. Now, the other thing about needing an 80 on the homework in order before you take a quiz, the homework questions are set so that you can rework them as many times as you need to. All right. So once you get it wrong, I think it's 3 times, it will show you the answer, and there'll be an option then to take another version of the question, and it'll kick up a new version with new numbers in it. And you just have to get it right once in any version, and it'll mark it as good, and you can move on and have credit for it and get yourself up to your minimum 80 you need for the quiz. I strongly recommend you shoot your homework goal more like 95%. Students who get 80s, really what it comes down to is we tend to get lower scores on the quizzes than we do on the homework, and a little bit lower scores on the tests than we do on the quizzes. And so what happens is if you leave your homework at 80, your quizzes get a little bit lower, your tests are lower from there. It's hard to get a good grade in the class. So if you think more to set your goal on the homework is more like 95, and move from there, then you got a much better shot at getting a good grade. Now, the quizzes, there's a little bit of an oddity with the software we're using, Lumen Learning. It's very clunky and odd to be able to take a quiz more than once. So what I've done is they've got this internal thing you can set a question. I've done that. Your quiz questions, you get 3 attempts at each question, but it counts off as you move along. Okay, so your first attempt, if you get it right on a question, you get full credit for it. Your second attempt, you get 70% credit, and your third attempt, you get 40% credit. Okay, um, and the tests work the same way on the questions: full credit first attempt, 70% second attempt, 40% third attempt. All right. There's our basic layout. Okay, you can see we've got our 3 tests. I'll do on Fridays, Friday, June 19th, and then Friday, July 3rd, and then Friday, July 17th. And then the final exam is actually due Friday, July 31st. All right. The test and the final must be taken using Respondus Monitor. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to the date of our first test. Canvas, okay? This course is in Canvas, and it uses this Lumen Learning software. The two are linked together. You will even though using the Lumen Learning, you're going to access everything through Canvas. All right, so let's go over to Canvas. I'm going to show you how that part works. Okay, so when you first enter Canvas, you come to this page. You've got some of your quick start links down here that are useful. You can get to the modules by clicking on the course content. But I just over here on the left side where it says modules. Oh, you know what? Wait a second here. Let me put it in student view so it'll look just like it does when you look at it. All right, so you've got your your upcoming course assignment due dates and calendar, if you will, on the right. Over here, you automatically start at home. I would left click on modules. This is the core, really, kind of the course as I think about it, the way I see it. Getting started in here, my faculty contact information, some stuff I strongly recommend you work through. Look at the getting started. All right, there's a discussion board where you can introduce yourself. And we're going to be using the Lumen Learning software. So there's no points attached to it, but I very strongly recommend you click on that and work your way through the little exercise about how entering answers works and that sort of thing. Now this intermediate algebra diagnostic, it's optional. It's really just information for you. What it is it is a test. It's about 20-something questions. You can see it says 0 points there, but it will show you if you're weak in some areas, right? That it's a test that's designed to show you whether or not you're ready for this class, okay? So if you were to take it and have some real, have some weaknesses, you're going to want to try to somehow fix those as you take before you get very far, okay? Or you can talk to me about it. I might have some ideas. Just depends on what the situation is with that. All right. So once you finish going through the getting started, some notes about Lumen Learning, you could look at that. And then here's our weeks. It's got 8 weeks of class. I've got the first 3 set up in here right now. All right. Each week they look like this. So the ebook, the Lumen Learning is free. The textbook is in it. This first week, for some reason, I don't know why, I couldn't find a separate reading for section 1.1. So I just put the full book in here. You can click on it, and obviously you can. 1.1 is the very first section in the book. 1.1 also, I couldn't find a video lesson for it. So we don't have one for that, but I think you'll find that 1.1 is mostly review. And I will cover this material also on Thursday night, all right? So you've got your video section. So you have your reading section, your video section, homework section, and then your quiz. And here, see the quiz says it's 1-1 to 1-2, right? Week 2, each week will have a similar layout. If there's a test in a week, the test will be in that week's thing too. Notice there's 4 sections here in week 2. And there's 2 quizzes, 1-3 to 1-4 and up to 1-6. What is that happening? That's a YouTube thing. All right. Week 3, the test 1 is due in week 3, so it'll show up there right at the beginning of week 3. And I haven't put in all the other stuff, but I'll get that in there sometime later this week. All right. So there's your overview. Really, that's just how you get to pretty much everything, right? Come here. It's all laid out for you in the modules. If you want your own copy of the calendar, if you come over here and click syllabus, and then schedule tab, there's the calendar. All right. When it gets pasted into Canvas. It does a little bit of oddity with the formatting, but it's all there, okay? All right, let's go back over here to make sure I've got everything. Oh yes, one other thing now I would like to, let's talk about the way class is gonna work. Our in-person class on Thursday nights, we're gonna do what's called flipped. So I had to think some about, just on a practical level, we're gonna meet about half as much time as a residential class would normally meet. It'll be online using the Zoom video system. So what I'm going to leave to you to do is each week you're assigned to watch all the videos there that you saw. Click get to them through Lumen Learning, all the ones for the week. Take notes. Have that done before class starts on Thursday. And in class, I'm going to focus a lot on working problems. Okay, I can't do. Something's kind of got to give because I've got half the class time I would normally have. All right, so I will pull a few. I'm not going to completely avoid content other than problems, content that's really key to working problems. I'll definitely be pulling it in, but it'd be very much in your best interest each week to have either read the textbook and take notes or have watched the videos and take notes. Maybe work a couple questions, and then all the homework and quizzes and stuff for that are due Sunday night every week. All right? All right. Attendance, actually, so the one other thing I should say is attendance is a mix in this class since it's hybrid. We have course on Thursday nights. It's a very long meeting, right? 2 hours and 40 minutes. We're going to have 2 breaks during it. And so I will take attendance at the beginning of class, and I'll take it again sometime after the second break. Usually I may take it between the first and second occasionally just to mix things up. All of these count, right? So the way your attendance is counted will be both times that I'll take attendance twice every Thursday night. And if you miss one of them, that counts as half an absence. Every week there's either a quiz or a test due or whatever, all right? If there's 2 quizzes due in a week, then missing either one of them counts as a half of an absence. If you mistaken both of them, then obviously that's a full absence. All right, if there's 1 quiz or a test, they count as an absence. All right, so the way this will work is if anybody gets more than 3 absences, more than 3 by July 7th, I'm sorry, it's more than, yes, yeah. If you get more than 3 by July 7th, the rule is I'll need to withdraw you from the course. Okay, after July 7th, if you pile them up, in one sense, it doesn't matter. You probably won't do well. That's always been my experience, is that students who don't come to class almost never do well in the class. But if you can make it to July 7th, then after that, you'll just get whatever grade you get by adding up all the points. Okay. Also, a thing you should know for standard, if you, this is a standard John Tyler policy, if you haven't completed any assignments by 11:59 p.m. on June 9th, you'll be considered as never attended. So what that means in this case is you need to complete your first quiz. Okay. Actually, maybe not. No, that's not to say that. This is not really quite the same thing. You need to finish a homework. Okay, and that's just, in other words, you can't click and do one question and say, "See, I was here." You need to finish your first homework. All right. And honestly, if you don't finish your first homework till July 9th, then you are already well behind. This is just sort of the attendance limit, right? If you haven't finished one by then I'm required to drop you from the course. Okay, it'll be like you were never here. And I believe that's it. That's all the stuff, okay? Sorry to kind of go over all the rule stuff. I know it's much less than exciting, but we've got to do it. I am looking forward to class on Thursday night. I will be sending out a Zoom link in the next day or two, and I'll send it out again on Thursday. All right, looking forward to a great semester. Hope everyone enjoys the class.